Guys, welcome back to the League Crawler podcast. I know that we're a day late, a couple hours late. Huge shout out to Xpert and his group that we're going to talk to here in a little bit for kind of making this happen, stepping up to the plate. Let's get into some news, and then let's get into our interview, which you guys are here for. On the League Crawler website, we actually have a lot of new things, some new resources, is what Matt is calling them. If you head over there, there's going to be a place to share graphic templates. So if you are a graphic designer, if you do some things for your league and you're like, yo, we've used this in the past, leagues can use this now, I want to put some stuff out there for people to use, there's going to be a resource page for you to put those graphics on there and allow people to kind of have that work. So again, that's something to look out for. Go over there, check that out. There's also an ESPN style highlight generator. So if you go over there, you put in some numbers, you put in some logos, it's going to give you an ESPN style highlight that you can like take that image, and then I believe you can post that onto different things. But it's a really cool little thing that's now added to the League Crawler site. So again, just something that's extra to kind of check out. There's also an activity feed for smaller social media events. So if you're a league and you're like, yo, we've got a random game that's coming up, we're gonna host it, we're going to do this, but it's not really like a Super Bowl. It's just something to kind of do there. There's going to be a place for you to put that on the activity feed. Just head over to leaguecrawler.com and you can check that out. If you missed last week's episode, we had on Tyson Lee. He is a defensive end. He's a freshman. It was a ton of fun. I'm really encouraged with what this dude's doing. I think he's going to go big places. I'm really intrigued with watching how his college career kind of unfolds. But it was really cool to talk to somebody that gave us some insight on, hey, you can start getting paid for college ball. What are your thoughts on this? So if you haven't checked that one out, I highly encourage you guys to do that. And if you're looking to see what Tyson's all about, check out Western Michigan this year. This should be a lot of fun. They play Michigan week 1. Nate over at the OMFL continues to put out fire content for the community at League Crawler. If you guys haven't checked his stuff out, man, I say this every week, but he keeps posting new stuff, and I keep telling him, if you keep posting, I'm going to keep plugging. Check the dude's stuff out. It is awesome. It is engaging. I was over there. We talked for like a half hour and just some random stuff the other night. It was a lot of fun. So I highly, highly encourage you guys to do that. It's not just his community that he will interact with. It is anybody. If you want to be a part of that experience, I highly encourage you guys to check out what Nate's doing. SPA announces that for NBA 2K22, they will be sponsoring a Pro-Am team this year instead of a Dynasty mode. So last year they did a 30-person league. It ended up going like 2 seasons or something. This year they are not doing that. They're going to put some of their content creation ideas into NBA 2K22. And they're going to sponsor a Pro-Am team. I believe they're doing something like play-by-play. They're going to give them overlays. They're going to really hook them up. And Team SPA is going to be a thing for NBA 2K22. With our news out of the way, let's get into the best part of the show. This week we've got on Xpert from DaDynasty. It is a PlayStation League. It has been going 7 years, 365 days a year. Xpert, brother, how you doing?
Hey, man, excited to be on the podcast, man. Appreciate the invite.
Yo, I appreciate you coming up. Just so everybody knows, this was one that we were going to do next week, and we had some issues with the league that we were going to do a couple days ago. And, man, when we asked you to come on, you made yourself available. We were going to try to do it last night, but I had some things come up. You have been one of the most flexible people to get on. We want to make sure we do you guys justice. Tell me about DaDynasty.
PS4 Sim League. Going into our 7th Madden together, started by a great guy, Nasty Noob, still the head commish. We decided about 5 years ago to stop just playing Madden and start doing content. Show up at EA Play every year, talk to devs, talk to other commissions of other leagues, try and build our YouTube channel. We do live drafts. It's been a lot of fun, a good group of guys. Of course, with any league, there's going to be, changes with the guys that are in the league, but still a good core of guys that have started with us and been great. We've done some amazing things. Of course, League Crawler has always been a great asset for us with any dynasty, any league that you have for Madden. League Crawler's always looked out for us. You mentioned Nate at OMFL. We've done stuff with him. Just amazing Madden community that we have, and we try and be a part of it at the Dynasty. We're looking forward to year 7, 8, 9, and keep going.
Yo, I'm excited to kind of see it. Now, you guys mentioned to me that you're 7 years, and when you told me that was like, oh yeah, that's cool. I mean, there's not very many leagues that have that kind of longevity. But then you also told me that you're 365 days a year, and that was something that was kind of eyebrow raising because it is hard to keep people engaged a full year around going into a next game where they have no break. Tell our listeners what you guys do to keep your guys engaged for that long of a time.
Yeah, so we have this thing, and it's what we're in right now. It's called high stakes. So basically, what we have is you are working the entire cycle to build your roster to play in this high stakes season, where now everything comes down to where you draft for your team in Madden 22. So if you want your team, if you're a Chiefs fan and you say, oh, yeah, I got to get my Patrick Mahomes, I got to get that team for Madden 22, you have to ball out during the high stakes season. So if you win the Super Bowl, you have the first pick for Madden 22 on the live draft. Whoever loses the Super Bowl gets 2, and so on and so forth. And so guys are building their roster for the entire year for this specific season. Now, of course, it's great to win the Super Bowl in year 2, year 3. But if you truly are concerned about what team you have for Madden 22, this is the season you play for. And so that kind of keeps guys, involved and entertained. Of course, anytime you have a league that's going on 7, years, you've built those relationships where guys, they're excited to play the game, even in those dog days, summer days of Madden. As new information comes out for the next Madden, guys start to slowly pull away from the previous version. But we've done a good job of keeping guys entertained, keeping guys excited about playing the game until it's finished. There are days where you got to push yourself, but it's important, especially during this high stakes season, because your boy Xpert, I need my Cowboys. I can't play with another team. I just can't. I need my Dallas Cowboys. And so, this season is so important.
Oh, brother, I hear you, because I don't think I would ever be able to play a season where I couldn't beat my Cardinals.
Right.
That's before we ever had like Kyler Murray and the good guys. I remember being like, no, I have to have Carson Palmer. I have to have John Skelton, and I have to. So I totally get it. Now, you mentioned you guys have been doing content for 5 years, and we're going to get into the content you're kind of doing now, but can you tell me when that idea first kind of came out? Because there's a lot of leagues out there that want to take that next step. What was that step looking for you guys? How did you know that this was the avenue you wanted to do?
I think it's one of those things where we saw other leagues. We saw the Madden Bomber League. We saw OMFL. We saw these guys that were doing content and just said, man, that would be an extra layer of making this game more than just loading up and playing, more than just draft and looking at free agents. It would add a different element to keep guys entertained during the Madden cycle. And so I think the best advice I could give people when they talk about getting into content is just go and look at other people's content and what they're doing. Not necessarily that you need to copy what other leagues are doing, but just to get that kind of idea of how it's helped their league. How do you get the community involved that would want to come and watch, just a basic regular season game in week 8 of your league? Why would somebody want to come and see that? If you're doing shows like we do shows, numbers don't lie, where we talk about the stats of the league, who's doing well, who's not. I have a podcast called Expert's Corner. We've had guys, from EA. We've had guys from other games, NBA Live, game developers, just to come on and kind of just branch out and try and not just, put yourself in a box of we just got to talk about our league. And so that's kind of the thing that we did when we first started looking at it. And of course, there were some days, when you first start doing content of like, are we doing the right thing? Do we even know what we're doing? Where do we go to get graphics? I mean, there's a lot that go into it, but, we teamed up with some great guys that kind of gave us advice of this is what we should do. And of course, our commish Nasty Noob is one of the greatest when it comes to getting graphics and putting things together and being that producer. And he's done such an amazing job, and to watch him kind of grow into that role over these past, 5 years that we've been doing content, we've just grown and gotten better. And I will say, don't ever give up on progressing. Don't try and stay the same. You got to always be looking for that next great idea. If you're always doing the same thing over and over again, you yourself can get stagnant, much less people that are trying to watch your content. So my thing is just always trying to evolve. And that's kind of what we've done at the Dynasty, and try and find that new idea that will get people entertained and coming to the channel to watch us.
Now, one of the things that you had just mentioned was this high stakes season that you have. And one of the reasons that I love this idea is even with what we do in our own community, you have found a way to incentivize that last season. So, like what we do over in our league is if you play in that last season for the next Madden, you get a trade in season one if you completed the following season. You didn't have too many sim games, you were able to complete it. So, we incentivize it as well. What you guys are doing is like a step up, though. Are there other things that you do to incentivize your users that this is not a place that you want to have any kind of lull time? You need to be here all year round.
We don't have any incentives as far as, if you show up and play your games, you're going to get, you're going to get an X factor, you're going to get a trade upgrade or anything. We haven't really done anything like that. I would say that because high stakes is so competitive, it's literally, the way I can explain it is I may be best friends with the guy in the league. Like Nasty Noop and I, we talk on the regular as the commish, as me being one of his top content guys. We're always in communication. During high stakes, I literally will try and beat him by 75 points when we play, just because it's that important. And on top of that, we don't just do a regular season. So basically in high stakes, there are added rules to the league. So one of the things we did this year, and it's different every single high stakes that we've had. So this year, we're having a high stakes where you call it, you run it. So basically, whatever play you call in the huddle, you have to run it like Madden designed it. You can't audible a wide receiver. You can't block a running back. You can't do anything to change the play on offense or defense. You can't change the zone to man. You can't change a cloud flat to a deep third. You have to run it exactly like it's called, no audibles. And so it just adds that extra incentive. You can't motion a player unless it's part of the play. It's just an extra layer to try and get guys thinking about how do we keep guys engaged. And we put the rules out probably 3 or 4 seasons before we get to high stakes, so guys can kind of get adjusted to that. Because if you're so used to audibling and hot routing so many things, when you get to high stakes and you can't do that, it's difficult to change the way you play. And if you break a rule in high stakes, you drop a slot in the team draft. So guys are watching your stream. Their eyeballs are lit up because what guys want your team when it comes to the draft. So you want to make sure you're playing according to the rules. You're winning. You show up for all your games. You're only allowed 1 free auto for the season. If you go on auto for the second time, you drop a slot. And it is a cutthroat season where guys are looking out for themselves. And it is exciting. It's the greatest season I've ever been involved with any kind of league. And I love how we change it up and do different things different years.
No, it's actually brilliant. In fact, it is so good that at this point, I think the people that are listening that are looking for leagues are probably starting to get intrigued with what you're selling. So at this point, I think it's good to kind of hit with what your guys' avenue is, because every league has their own thing that they want to hit, with what we do, we're looking to define sim. With what Soden does, I mean, the content they put out is just incredible. The play-by-plays, the whole spiel. With what Nate's doing, he's constantly on promoting everything he can. So like every league has their own avenue or their own niche, What is your guys' avenue? Like when somebody would say, if you could describe Dynasty in just a few words, what would that description be like?
Yeah, so I think we try to be a sim league. I think that's really difficult with the way Madden plays, but definitely we try and be as sim as possible. But I will say this, we are trying to be the realest PS4, PS5 league that you can find out. So if you watch our content, we're not going to hold anything back. If you suck, we're going to let you know that you suck. If you are the doormat of the league, we're going to let you know. We want guys that get on shows that are going to be honest and real. And then we understand that, this is a community to us. It's more than just Madden. If you've been in the league long enough, this is a brotherhood to us. And so Dynasty to me is a brotherhood. Like this is like a fraternity to me. I mean, when you have guys that have kids that graduate high school or college or have a new baby, I mean, we're involved in your lives. We're supporting you, not just in the Madden content, but with everything. So I would say the word to describe Dynasty is this is a brotherhood. And if you want to be a part of that brotherhood, man, we are open to guys joining. We have a development league called The Blueprint. You can hit me up on Twitter. And I will get you in touch with the guys that recruit for our organization and get you involved in the dynasty.
Yo, let's talk about Blueprint real quick, because I haven't had a lot of opportunities to talk with people about development leagues. But I know that there's a lot of leagues out there that are just starting to fill up, or they've gotten full. They're starting to get a wait list. And a lot of teams out there or leagues out there are going like, I think it's time for us to do League 2 or a development league. But the issue that I've always seen with it is it's hard to keep people invested in a league that they know I'm just here to get to another one. Can you give any advice on what it takes to run a successful development league?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is you have to run your development league as if it's the main league. You have to have the exact same rule set. You have to have the same excitement, the same draft, the same free agency process. It all has to mirror exactly what you're doing in the main league. And so the way that we do it is we have some of the guys that are on the main roster in the dynasty are a part of the blueprint to kind of help guys understand what they're going to get into when they get into the dynasty, when there's an opening, because we always pull from our development league into the dynasty. And, you know, it's not a first come, first serve in the blueprint. It's what guys are going to fit into the dynasty, because in the main roster, you want to have guys that are committed to the league. They're going to show up. They're going to be involved in the chat. They're going to jump on a show when you need them to. And so we're looking for those guys that do that in the blueprint. I would say before Madden 21, before kind of this COVID hit and kind of messed up everything, we were doing content in the blueprint. We had guys that were on shows that had their own shows for the blueprint. And those are the guys that made it to the live roster, that made it to the big leagues, as we say in the dynasty, is those guys that showed that initiative in the blueprint. You have to understand in the development league that you're going to have turnover in that league, and you can't let it discourage you, because guys aren't going to want to sit around, like you said, and just wait to get to the show. They're not going to want to wait, and that's fine. You want to find those guys that are in it for the long haul. We've seen guys come from our development league, come to the dynasty and take over and be that, not only that content guy, but be that guy that's winning Super Bowls and being the face of our community. And so, you know, that's the biggest thing is I would say run it like it's your main league, and then don't let turnover affect how you run your development league.
That's great advice, man. I appreciate it. One of the things that you had just mentioned was your guys' community is really about the brotherhood that you guys have. It really sounds like you guys all do this together. Am I on the right track?
Oh, absolutely.
And the reason that I like that so much is it actually takes us right into our first sponsor. And this is why Matt even allows me to do the show. And that is spacetradr.com. Spacetradr.com is a place you can go to if you are a business owner, or you are somebody looking to grow a product or grow a community or whatever it is that you're doing. And it gives you an opportunity to kind of reach out to others that are doing the same thing, but maybe they need some help in an area that they can help you. And maybe you need some help or you're good at something, you can help them. It's just a great avenue to kind of get on, find people that all want to grow together, that realize that us doing this on our own is just not the smartest way to do it in this day and age. So spacetradr.com, there is no E, but it is an incredible place for you to go to kind of get some of that stuff out. I can't recommend it enough. Matt kills it over there. He puts a lot of time and effort into Space Trader, and we want to make sure that we do everything in our power to kind of empower that page. So shout out to spacetrader.com. Thank you for the sponsor. I want to get into your guys' YouTube, Xpert, because when I do my research for things, I try to really do like a 3 to 4 hour dive in, right? And I know I messaged you before we did this show, and I was like, look, this is kind of on crunch time. I need as much info as I can.
Right.
But to be truthfully honest with you, there was not enough time, even with the 3 hours I took this morning, to go through all of your guys' stuff. What you have on YouTube is incredible. Now, I want to go through some of these shows. I'm going to give an opportunity to tell me what they're all about. But before we do that, I want to give our users some info. Here are the shows that are available on your guys' YouTube right now. You have the Bus Stop. It's 4 episodes in. You have the Bye Week. It's 18 episodes in. You have Walk the Line. It's 35 episodes in. You have The Franchise. It's 32 episodes in. You have Numbers Don't Lie. It's 21 episodes in. You have Keep It Real. It's 11 episodes. You have your own expert corner. I have no idea how long that one was because my computer shut down. Brother, you guys are killing it on the content game. This is incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy when you go through like all those things that we've done. Yeah, it's crazy.
Tell me about these shows. Let's start with the bus stop. What is the bus stop?
Okay, so we have a user in Dynasty called The Bus, and he is a 3-time Super Bowl champion in Madden 21. And this is the guy that started this. It's basically just a podcast, The Bus, and he goes by and he picks up his boys, Sweets 99 and Tight Work, owner of the Broncos and owner of the Dolphins. And they basically have one guest on the show, and they ask him, they're asking the guest on the show about, their season, how it's going, what are they looking for in the draft, if there's something going on in the chat with that user for a certain thing. Usually he tries to have guys on the show that maybe are having a beef with another user, and something that The Bus just started on his own. He does all the graphics for the shows. He started this podcast on his own, put it on the DML network. It's 4 episodes in, but I can promise you for Madden 22, The Bus will be rolling big time. You're going to see probably 10, 12 episodes of that show as he goes through and just picks different users to get on. Your boy Xpert will be on that show at some point. We've talked about doing it. Then some things happened where he had to kind of shut the show down for the rest of the Madden 21 cycle. But that show just started. It's probably our newest show. But it's a good show. It's a good episode to watch because those 3 guys have known each other a long time. And so it's funny to kind of hear those guys on the show together.
Now, I want to go through every single one of these. I want people to understand what this is. Can you tell me what the bye week is?
So the bye week is my show. So basically what I do is if you're on a bye week in a season, I get you on the show and just ask you all about your season, what's going on. We talk about your schedule, your roster, your injuries, your stats, predictions for the rest of your schedule. And so basically the bye week is just something to keep people active during their bye week in the season when they don't have a game, to get on a show and kind of just talk about their team. And so we've done that. And that show, it's fun. It gives guys that normally wouldn't get on a show a chance to just come on and talk about their team. And it's a lot of fun. So I love the bye week. That's one of mine for sure.
Now, this is one of the greatest songs of all time, but I got to know about what you guys are doing with it. Walk the Line.
So Walk the Line is Chris Murray and Ralph O'Matic, Mr. Randy himself, the toxic champion. And basically what they do is they get on and they predict the next week's games. And basically it's just an ESPN style show of who's going to win, why they're going to win, and how much they're going to win by. And Walk the Line has been around a long time. It started at the beginning of our content. Then it took a break and we had another show kind of take over in between there. And then Chris Murray brought the show back with Randy on it. And those guys do a great job predicting scores for the next week.
Now, the Dynasty would not be complete without the franchise. Can you tell me what the franchise is?
The franchise is basically a show we do after every draft where we talk about, did you reach or did you get a gem? And we just talk about the first round. So we go through all first round, 32 picks of every team. It's a show I've hosted from the beginning. I've had a plethora of different users on that show. My co-host on the show is Tazzarelli, the owner of the Bengals. He's been with me almost for every episode of that. But we've had different guys on, and we just go through the first round draft picks and find out, did you pick somebody you were supposed to, or did you reach? We give out the Stretch Armstrong Award. Whoever reached the farthest, he gets the Stretch Armstrong Award. We give the Bill Cosby Award out for whoever got trade raped in the previous season. And so you don't want to be one of those 2 guys. You don't want to get the Bill Cosby Award and you don't want to get the Stretch Armstrong, because you have to put that as your name in the chat for the next year until the next franchise show comes out.
Man, oh man. Okay, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, so basically numbers don't lie is exactly what it is. Men lie, women lie, kids lie, Matty Ice lies, but numbers will never lie. And so we another show that the Bus hosts with Tight Work and Sweets 99, and they basically go over stats. So they're going to pick 1 or 2 different stats, one on offense, one on defense. They're going to go through, why these guys are in the top of the league. Then they have a segment called Why You Suck, and basically go over, the reason that you're 0-5 in the league or whatever your record is. And so numbers don't lie is exactly that. It's just a stat show. It's a lot of fun. Those guys do a great job.
All right, man, let's keep it real. What's this one?
Yeah, keep it real. That's exactly what it is. Keep it real. And so you're gonna get honesty from Chris Murray. It's not going to be anything sugar-coated. If you got feelings like Charmin paper towel, please do not watch Keep It Real. You got to put your crocodile gear on for that show because he's just going to be honest with you and tell you how it is. We love that show because it creates a lot of excitement in the chat when that episode comes out.
And the last one on my list, my guess is this is yours. This is the Xpert Corner. Yeah,
so Expert's Corner is the brainchild of our commish Nasty Noob. And basically that's what I talked about, of not just putting the Dynasty in a box and saying, okay, we're only going to do Madden content with our league. So, I've had the ratings adjuster from Madden on the show. I've had JD Richards from Apex Football. I've had SimF Ball Critic. I've had Smitty. I've had the Godfather of NBA Live. I mean, I've had so many guys on the show. Dubby has been on the show from the MCS community. And basically it's just a podcast, kind of like what you're doing right now, man. I just want to pick your brain and find out what makes you tick and what's going on in your life and what you're working on. And so Expert's Corner, I got to give 100% credit to Nasty Noob. He's the reason that show exists. He created the name for it, the graphics, everything. And that's one of my favorite shows to host because it allows me to kind of step out and do something different besides just Madden stuff.
Man, what you guys are doing on the content side is it might be untouched. I know there's a lot of leagues out there that are doing them, but you guys are absolutely killing it. So shout out to you guys' YouTube. If you guys have not gone over there and checked it out yet, check out DML Network on YouTube. You will not be at any point. I don't think you could look at this and be like, this is not enough. It is incredible. You guys are killing it.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Daddy leagues. I was kind of blown away by the very top because as you go in, you see champion after champion after champion after champion. How many seasons do you guys typically do per Madden?
So we're 9 to 10 seasons a cycle. It just depends on how quick we get them in. But man, we're gonna play as many as possible. Definitely, when you look on the Daddy Leagues page, you're gonna see the Hall of Champions at the top. If you have something hanging in the rafters there, you are a legit champion because you've proven to be the best player in the Dynasty, and that's difficult to do. And if you have multiple ones, then you're a Dynasty royalty. Shout out to Daddy Leagues and what they do for the Madden community. But so we try and get as many in as possible, 9, 10, at least 9 a year. Sometimes we'll get 10.
What would you guys say your advanced schedule is like for somebody that wants to?
It just depends. Pre-COVID, I would say it was 24 to 48 hours. With COVID and so many people that have stayed at home, we have seen 8 hours advances, 12-hour advances. That it's been crazy when the league advances and you see 12 games pop off within the first hour of a league advance, you're moving along pretty quick, and it's been a blessing and a curse. When you have 8 12-hour advances, 18-hour advances, it's hard to get content in for some of those advances. So it's been a blessing and a curse. We're looking for Madden 22 to kind of slow things back down. I would tell people we're a 48-hour league, but the peer pressure in chat to get your game played will make you a 24-hour league real quick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think every league kind of goes through those ebbs and flows of we want to be a blank amount of hour league, but our guys just don't allow us to do that. We advance way faster. Yep. All right, before we get done with this, I want to know what your guys' thoughts were on the Madden 21 game, because at the start of it caught a ton of flack. Did that consistency of the community in Madden in general and EA in general, did that transition to the Dynasty, or did you guys have a relatively fun experience?
I will say with every Madden version, there's going to be positives and negatives with the game. I will say Madden 21, and if you talk to anybody at EA, will tell you the same thing. It did not live up to the standard that we as a community expect, especially in the franchise community. I will say that the franchise guys have been kind of put on the back burner way too long. When you look at franchise, it is the #1 played mode, and it's not even close. More guys are in a franchise either online or offline than any other game mode, and that includes MUT, which a lot of people would be like, no, that's not right. Look it up. I promise you, it's not even close. Even those MUT guys will tell you, man, we're in franchises. We're playing CFM. If you look on YouTube, look at Bobby V and Zan and all those guys that are top guys. They're in franchises and they have franchise content. And so I think this is the year where the franchise community finally came together and said, look, enough is enough. You're going to stop forgetting about us, and you're either going to change the way that franchise plays, you're going to change the content that you give us, the layers you give us, or we're going to find something else to do. And I know for Madden 22, EA I think they finally started to listen to us. And I have my own theory on why they did it, but it's good to see the franchise finally get some adjustments, some different layers. But I will say Madden 21 for me, it didn't live up to my standards and my expectations, but man, I had a blast playing with my guys in the Dynasty. I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. To me, it's the best league. And I know there's so many good leagues out there, but it's my family. And so we enjoyed the 10 seasons. I wish we could have got the Cowboys a banner this year. But it's the first year I haven't had a banner since 17, so 18.
Now, have you had a chance to play the beta for 22 yet?
Oh, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on 22?
Okay, so I love the movement that's in 22. If they keep the movement the same, it's kind of like the PS5 version where, I'm not running around with a middle linebacker or a safety and covering 4 different routes. It's just not going to happen. You have to pick and choose what you decide to take away from somebody. I love that aspect of it. It plays more sim football to me than 21 did for sure. You look at the franchise adjustments with coaching tree, with scouting the way it is, with the way the momentum is. You're starting to see some of that NCAA 14, that blueprint of what NCAA 14 was that we all loved, starting to come into the franchise mode. And so I love the beta. I wish it would have stayed a little bit longer and let us keep playing it. But I understand they had to kind of shut it down and trying to make some adjustments to it as we get close to the launch.
Now, my last question for you guys is you did this cycle on PlayStation 4. Are you doing the next cycle on PlayStation 4, or are you moving up to PlayStation 5?
No, we are going next gen. So we will be on the PS5. We currently right now have, I think, 3 users that don't have a 5. So another reason why this to me is a brotherhood. So basically we have every PS5 guy that has one is actively looking to get another PS5 for a guy that doesn't have it. And we've had probably 5 or 6 guys get PlayStation 5s from other users in the league, looking out for them to say, hey, man, I finally got one on Walmart, or I got one on GameStop. Hey, I'm going to ship it to you. Send me the Cash App or PayPal or wherever you want to pay me for the PlayStation 5. And so I think we're 3 or 4 users away from having everybody in the league with the PlayStation 5.
Man, that is incredible. Guys, that is Xpert. That is DaDynasty. I want to quickly give you another shout out before we kind of go. Every single guest that comes on this show, I don't think we've ever had one where people listen to him and go, this is BS. This dude's full of crap. Right? But I'm going to tell you from doing it from my seat that there's definitely a difference sometimes with the people I interact behind the scenes and then when they come on the show, right? Everybody comes on the show to promote and they're all engaging and they all have fun. But sometimes the behind the scenes can be a little back and forth of trying to get things scheduled. Guys, if you are out there and you are on PlayStation 5 and you do not have a league to play in yet, and you're like, you know what? I hear these interviews. Everybody's interview sounds good. Can you give me just a little bit more info? I'm here to tell you guys, when you have somebody or people out there that go, oh, you just had somebody like cancel and you guys need somebody instantly, I can be available here. And then the host goes, hey, I wish I could have been available. Things came up. Can we do it tomorrow? And they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to reschedule. Xpert and DaDynasty have done everything in their power to make today showtime. It has been one of the easiest people I've scheduled with. They have gotten me all of their info instantly. If that type of commitment transfers over to what they're doing in their community, it's a win. So huge shout out to you, Xpert. Thank you for making yourself available to do this. Huge shout out to DaDynasty and everything you guys are doing. I am definitely going to start subscribing and checking out. I am not on PlayStation 5, but you definitely have a fan in me. Thank you for coming on the show today, brother.
Hey, Mo, appreciate it, man. Couldn't ask for a better guy to ask me to be on the show. We love doing this. This is a community to us, whether you're in the Dynasty or you're in another league. To me, the Madden community is important. And so any chance we get an opportunity to jump on and do an interview and put our name out there, we love doing it. And hey, man, there was a good reason the show got postponed to today. I mean, there's nothing better than watching the Phoenix Suns go up 2-0. As a big CP3 fan, it was fun watching that yesterday. So that's a great thing. So we look forward to adding some content for Madden 22. And definitely, if you need a league, hit me up on my Twitter at DML Experts Corner, and we'll get you in touch with the right people.
Guys, check them out there. You just heard that plug. If you want to go to YouTube, it's DML Network. If you go to their Twitch, it's DaDynasty. Again, man, thanks for coming on. Guys, that's the League Crawler podcast. We will see you next week.